Hi, welcome to my journey. We're getting out for our hour of therapy today. Uh, what I think I'm going to do is look for, I'm going to go to the beauty store and look for some things, right? Uh, I was doing my nails today. I wanted to do a red. Then I came across some Thermal Mood. I put some of that on. It wouldn't dry on its own. Yeah. So at one point there, I almost felt like I had blood on my hands. And I'm like, no, I don't have blood on my hands. But thank God it's Thursday, right? And Thursday always reminds me to take the damn trash out. Hold on. Okay. We're on our way to the beauty store. I swear, it seems like the trees just disrespect me. They just disrespected the fact that I thought, I could get away with, doing a bag of leaves, right? And now it looks like I didn't do any leaves. It looks like I haven't done no raking of any leaves, but I did. Got a bag out there at the curb to prove it. But anyway, I've already did my lightweight exercises, and I already did my mile walk on the treadmill, so I feel pretty good about that. The temperature gauge on the vehicle says it's 61 degrees out here, right? That's not too cold, not too cold at all, which is great. The sun is shining. Oh, is it? I didn't see the light flashing, so I didn't think it was school zone time yet, and it's not. So yeah, maybe I'll come across a really nice deal on a wig, because I've really gotten my use out of the wigs that I have. Okay, it would be nice to to get a different look. All right, it would be nice to get a different look. Or maybe I'll also get a different tint of lip moisturizer. I like this one. It's kind of berry, but who knows? I might get one that's extra red. Now I went into my closet, right? And I was looking for some things, right? Well, I was straightening things out, and I ended up finding some things like this. I had never used it. There were several things in my closet that I had never used. Like I had an eyebrow pencil up in there that I had never used. The Thermal Mood thing, I had never used it, and the print was so small I couldn't even read how to use it. That's just, I know it's awful. Isn't that awful? But I had bought some Thermal Mood nail polish before, and it definitely required ultraviolet light in order for it to dry. And I do predict that's where, I went wrong. is by not using the ultraviolet light. But I'm gonna see, you know, if I can still, if I can use this and not really be concerned about this. Kind of has a flavor. Yeah, it tastes like punch. Mmm. Yummy. Yeah. Mmm. Whew. So it's nice and shiny and makes my lips feel pretty good. I mean, I may not need any lip moisturizer this week. I should probably just use that up. What do you think? You like it? Is it glossy? So yeah. I went to sleep listening to a video that was talking about that, you know, part of our problem as human beings, right? As human beings, male, female, whoever, right? Is that we're not congruent with our thoughts, right? We're not. I mean, we should be congruent with our thoughts. And so one of the worst things that we could probably do to ourselves is to be incongruent with our thoughts. Okay? So it talked about, you know, that we have to sometimes, you know, tell our minds, you know, that we authorize, you know, our thoughts, especially our thoughts about moving forward in life, right? And I was like, absolutely, absolutely, you know. And as a woman, you know, that has been told, you know, all my life, you know, that women are supposed to be submissive to men, right? And I'm like, nah, you know, a woman should be submissive to her man, not to men. Can you imagine just walking down the street and having any Joe Blow motherfucker, excuse my language, having anybody out there, you know, just telling you, you know, what to do? That's diabolical, right? And men already know. That's why men take advantage of folks. Men take advantage of other men, right? Seducing other men to fall in love with them, so they be following them and, you know, and give their life for them, and, you know, and it's like, no. You're not supposed to do that for these means. But that's what they got going on, right? And they knew it was going to happen, and they knew it was happening, right? That's why men will love other men, you know, was described as a downfall, not just a problem, but a downfall. And yet men were like, no way, you know. So then I was listening to the prophecy of Zechariah, right? Zechariah, however you want to say his name. It's one of those books that, you know, got thrown out of the Bible. And anyway, they were talking about the female, the woman being the problem. And I'm like, oh my gosh, they was talking about woman being a problem way back then, right? In about like 800 BC, right? 8,000 BC. Was it 8,000 BC? 800 BC. Anyway, they was talking about women being the problem. And I'm like, how are they talking about women being the problem? And it makes sense that if they was talking about Zechariah, right, which was part of the Peter Apocrypha, right? I was like, my goodness gracious. And they just, I mean, everything that was evil, they kept calling it a woman or a she or a her, right? And I'm like, that's how it happened. That's how men got weaponized against women. And in the process of getting weaponized against women, that allowed them to become dominated or want to become dominated by a man. Right? Because men, they are followers, right? They want to fall in love, and you know, once they figure they love someone, they allow that person to dominate their thoughts and feelings. Okay? So, it blew my mind, right? Because I kept hearing it and it was disgusting. You know, the blame that they had placed upon women. You know, and it was on and on and on and on and on. And it was like, I want to say it was about 3.5 hours, 4 hours of just putting down, you know, men's behavior and blaming the woman as the reason why. Right? And I'm like, that's where they got the blaming of the women from. The projection, because I couldn't figure out, how did the projection get so strong against women? And this happened like way before Christ even came into the picture. Right? And then, you know, once Christ came into the picture, you know, they changed that whole narrative, you know, trying to make it seem like Christ was, you know, a bitch. Yeah, they made it seem like Christ was a bitch. That's why they persecuted him out in the streets, you know, the way that they did, and gave him an unholy death, right? Even though he was more holier than the people that put him to, you know, his demise. So, then, once, you know, the unexplainable started happening, even after Christ was persecuted, they still changed the narrative. They changed the narrative to where the people who was the Jews who actually put Christ through his demise, they tried to make it seem like, well, you know, we're the people of Christ. You know, it's like, yeah, you were the people that persecuted Christ. Keep it real. And they're like, no, you know, we're the people of Christ, and you know, and he loved us, and you know, and the whole narrative was that they threw onto the world that was a lie, was that Christ came to the earth to die as a sacrifice for the sins, for their sins. And I'm like, no way. But it was way. Really, that was the way they did it. And here's the weirdest part of all. The weirdest part of all is that men have been believing in this for 20,000 years. Going on 30,000 years. If not already 30,000 years. Okay? I couldn't believe it. I'm like, wow. Wow, wow, wow. And yet, here we are. Here we are. Dang, they got a whole head of hair. Come on. I'm waiting. Because I love the kitties. The kitties. So, yeah. And even though, they took this out of, say, the religion, unless they still have it in their theology schools. They still have this knowledge in their theology schools, for sure. Their theology universities, they still have it. They still instill this type of thinking to higher learning, okay? Because, it's definitely the most proclaimed way that man has been able, basically to dominate other men. All right. So, there's a lot of, conflict, right? Because, America is trying to be a country that represents freedom, right? However, there is no freedom if there's corruption. Okay, there is none, right? Because people are imprisoned, held hostage by basically people who are corrupt and are lawless, right? But those same lawless people, they're saying, oh, no, we're not free if we have to follow any laws, okay? And that's where they're able to breed a confusion onto the land. Because when some people hear that, oh, Krispy Kreme them went out of business. Yes, they did. Because it's like they just reversed the fact that, how could you be free if you have restrictions? Which is stupid, right? That they would make it, an extreme definition of what free is, right? That's like saying, how could you be free if tomorrow you wake up and you age a day older? Okay. So I am almost here at this beauty store that I like so much. I haven't been here in a minute. And I haven't been to Chan's and had their delicious soups. I don't think I'm going to get their delicious soups, even though I hadn't fixed me anything to eat yet. It's just, I'm gonna try to find me a nice little wig, and they usually have some pretty good looking discounted wigs. So let's see. They got some stuff that it says back to sale. $2.99. And we don't even have a penny anymore, so you might as well say $3. Then another sign that says back to sale, $4.99, which is $4. So let's go see. Let's go see.